Doing some project cars fun times today. I'm gonna do some laps with the AI around Road America. Got it set to pretty warm weather, so we'll take that up to 65. Other than that, we should be good to go. My wheel should be set back to where it needs to be, hopefully. It's a little hard to tell right at the start. Yep, feels correct. This is a pretty fun circuit. This is just qualifying right now. So we're just going to try and find a gap for ourselves. Time from that point. As you can see, 30 total cars, including myself, and it is a multi-class race, so there's probably GT4 cars in here as well. Speaking of which, I think that was a GT4 car. And I do have the assists on realistic, so this car does come standard with, well, not standard, but the GT3 version comes with ABS and traction control. Oh, I guess I should mention I'm in the Audi R8 LMS GT3 spec car with my gorgeous custom livery, which of course you cannot see from the inside, but it is on the car nonetheless. A lot of understeer there. Not sure if it's just because of how close I am to that car, or the setup, or the weather, or everything. So that was a lot of understeer. Basically all I do for this car is I open up the radiator to make sure it doesn't overheat, and then I just lower the tire pressure because I have issues keeping heat in my tires most times. Alright, so let's start our first lap here. Lap at speed. The international sign for it, get the hell out of my way. Flashing the headlights. The last car I drove on here was the Jetta, which drives quite different from most of the other GT3s. It's a lot more on edge than some of the others. A little too deep in my braking zone there. That is a GT4 Aston. It's not the GT3 version. Basically use the entire brake pedal for that entire braking zone, which again is facilitated by the fact that these cars have ABS on them, so you can't just put your foot all the way to the floor, which is kind of nice. With the Jetta, it was fourth, but the Jetta is obviously geared differently than the R8 is. And once you see that first inside curbing, you just floor it from that point on. I didn't quite clear that car before I got to the quick right-hander, which is unfortunate. But even with my lowered pressures, you can see my right front. It's already down on temperature. Now it is set to get rid of some of the clouds. The weather is set to overcast and then medium clouds. So some of the cloud cover will lift and we will get more heat into the track when that happens. Even so, the bulk of the corners around here are right-handers, so it's not a huge issue. My front right is cool. Alright, that's enough for 4th. I want to get higher than that though. Because the AI will put in better and better laps as the session goes on. Or at least it tends to do that. I already invalidated this lap. That's unfortunate. The race is only 5 laps. I do have some longer races coming down the pipeline, but there's already a couple I recorded that are not going to be able to be used because of extenuating circumstances resulting from the way that I record them. Because the way that I record them, Davinci Resolve really, really likes, but Adobe Premiere is not a very big fan of, so I had to adjust quite a bit of that. I'm hoping that these new recordings are actually usable for Premiere. Again, a lot of that also depends on how Premiere works with or against me, whichever it chooses to do on any given day. I do have to lift with the GT3 cars just barely through there. It's enough to make you lift there though. Alright, I'm 1 second off the pace. I think this lap was thrown out anyway. If I remember right, the next lap is when I can push truly hard. Try and really put a good one in. This last turn is so deceptive. You feel like you've always turned in too early until you put your foot down. Then the car pushes itself right back out to where it's supposed to be. Looks like we got about 2 more laps of fuel. Or maybe just this one. Just gonna try and make it count, although I've already thrown it away. So that's unfortunate. So we got 3. We would have gotten 4 full laps out of this. So for the race fuel, we really only need a tiny bit more. You might be asking yourself right now, why am I continuing with this lap? Basically, I want to see how much fuel is left in the tank at the end of this lap. Because this will be the 4th lap. And it'll give me a really good idea of how much fuel I need to actually put in the tank for the race, rather than just estimating it based off of the 3 laps. Although this obviously will be a little bit extra fuel usage because I wasn't smooth on a lot of these laps and I was pushing right to the limit on all 4 of them. I'm going to have to increase the braking pressure on this. It just doesn't brake as quickly as I want it to. Excuse me. You can sort of see now that the clouds are starting to part a little bit. The temperature in my right front is starting to rise. Again, even though that tire doesn't really get used all that much around this track. See, it looks like this is almost right on the nose for 4 laps worth of fuel. Well, I think this will be my completing my 3rd lap. So I'm pretty sure it tells you the lap you were on. So if I remember correctly, that's actually only 3 laps done, which we should be able to see here. Yeah, so that would actually cut itself down to 3. Okay, so we did 3 laps and had 0.5 left, which is actually the perfect amount of fuel for me for going out and doing a run. Because basically you get your out lap and then 2 flying laps. So for this I'll need 22 should be more than safe enough. And again, I want to increase the brake pressure because I wasn't getting enough out of them. I think we'll try one more set of laps. It's one of the Mercedes-Benz SLSs. Coming into the pits. The look left and look right are fun to use. That car is probably on a fast lap. I'm pretty sure that's the GT4 BMW, which I believe is the M3 GT4. Squeezed him a little bit because I forgot the course went to the right. That's more like the braking I'm used to. And again, because of the ABS, I can still go pretty much flat to the floor. But for most corners, I only need about half of the pedal, which is nice to get all of the efficiency that I need out of the brakes. Which also helps heat them up quite a bit less. But then for those two giant braking zones there, I get the car slowed down in the way that I expect it to be, which is very, very helpful. That Mustang is a really fun GT4 car to drive. Keep catching people right at the quick kink. It's not a very good place to actually catch other cars. Preferably you want to catch them on this straightaway here. Scrub off at enough speed, but again, this is just my outlap, so it's not really an issue. So I guess that was technically 4 laps, because I just realized it doesn't count your outlap as a lap. So it's effectively how many laps you have completed. So I did do 4 laps, so I can actually probably get away with about 18 units of fuel. Now it'll start adding to my lap count. Turn 1 is a lot tougher than it looks. It seems like such a simple corner, but legitimately it is not as simple as it appears, because the road really drops away from you after you hit the apex. Sometimes it's fun to just hit the windshield wiper. Missed my apex a little. Got a really poor exit. I'm pretty solid through that corner though, which helps. Braking a little early now, which is not optimal. This is one of those odd corners where you start off with most of your foot still in it, and you sort of have to wean it off, get almost completely off in the center, and then right at the end, you can really throw your foot back in it, into it. It's wild that Janetta almost looks like a Daytona prototype sometimes behind you. Those are not in project cars. Well, that's unfortunate. Just punted me out of the way like a jerk. Oh, that's a Trans Am. I didn't know they were in this category. Those things are a heck of a lot faster than you'd expect them to be. Trans Am did not pit. It's still right beside me. I can see it on the map, even if I can't see it there. Oh, that was the end of qualifying, it looks like. So I finished 11th. I Not the last of the GT3s by any means. I forgot the GTXs are in here. So realistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm the 5th GT3. The fastest was at a 209, I was at a 210. Not too shabby, honestly. All things considered, not too bad at all. Here I can show my livery a little bit. See it in actual action here. The lines on this livery I am very happy with. I think they came out very, very good. As with most liveries, I think it looks best in very stark daylight, but it still looks pretty solid anytime. And unlike the other cars in this category, I actually put the red GTLM number plating on it. The rest of the cars in these categories have the GT Challenge instead, which is not a real category in any format of racing. But that's partially why it works, because you don't need any licensing for a non-real category. This was before I changed my brake bias, so I was running long a few of these corners, and I was used to the Ginetta, so I went to 4th there. The fire-breathing Audi. Oh, that graphics stutter is odd. So, I sort of forced him wide, but not as bad as I thought. Either way, we shall get to the race next.